Hello out there. This is the explanatory video for the 10 basic cards for the basic set of the rogue, which will unlock after you've reached level or rank 10 with the rogue. You can either reach rank 10 by playing play mode or in the arena. Well, if you've played the game, you probably know how to reach it. Pretty easy. Okay, I'll start explaining about the 10 cards which are in the rogue basic set. The first card, which costs 0 mana, is called Backstab. You can choose a minion of the enemy which is not damaged and do 2 damage to that minion. So for 0 mana you can do 2 damage, which is pretty good. Costs you nothing, get 2 damage. Definitely a card to have. For 1 mana, Deadly Poison. This gives your weapon 2 extra attack for every round you still have the weapon. So this can give you an extra 4 damage total for your weapon to either attack the enemy hero with or attack an enemy minion. Good card for just 1 mana. For 1 mana, the card called Sinister Strike. If you use this card, it will immediately deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. So you cannot choose to use this on a minion. When activated, it will just damage 3 to the enemy hero. For 2 mana, a card called Sap. This returns an enemy minion to your opponent's hand, which means choose a minion which is currently on the board of the enemy, preferably with a high attack or high health or both, and you will return that minion to his hand, so he has to play it again to activate it. So if your opponent activated a card which costs 10 mana, just with 2 mana you can return it back to his hand and he has to play it again. For 2 mana, Shiv. You can choose a minion or an enemy hero who you want to give 1 damage, and after you've dealt that damage you will draw an additional card. Personally, for 2 mana and just 1 damage with an extra card, this is a so-so card for me. It's a little bit expensive, but yeah, it can be, if you're low on cards, this can be quite some help. For 3 mana, Fan of Knives. If you activate this card, you will deal 1 damage to all enemy minions that are currently on the table. So I advise you to keep this card till you have a few enemy minions on the table, 3, 4 or more, preferably with low health, so you can take them out of the table directly. And after that, not only you get some damage to them, but you can also get a free card for just 3 mana. It's getting more expensive now. For 5 mana, Assassin's Blade. This gives you a hero's weapon, which does 3 damage, and you can use it 4 times. So this means in 4 turns you can do 4 times 3 damage, which is a total of 12 damage. This can be quite a big help. You can damage the enemy hero with this, or you can get rid of some annoying enemy minions on the table. A little bit expensive, but it can be a lifesaver. Another card for 5 mana, Assassinate. When activated, this card destroys an enemy minion of your choice, just drag the card over to the enemy minion you want to destroy, preferably one with high damage and health. This kills any enemy minion which is currently on the table, so it's a pretty strong card for just 5 mana. For 6 mana, Vanish. This card returns all the minions to their owner's hand. So when you play this, it will return your minions back to your hand, but also the minions of the enemy back to his hand. So this cleans out the entire table. It can be very useful in some kind of situations, but in most of the situation it doesn't. It's quite expensive, and didn't want to do that. It's quite expensive, and yeah, it can be useful if the opponent has a lot of minions on the table and you just have one and you're quite behind. But in most other situations, yeah, you pay to get rid of them, but in the end, the enemy needs to pay to get his minions back on the board, but so do you. So preferably use this card when you don't have any minions of yourself on the table. The last card, which costs 7 mana, called Sprint. Extremely useful if you don't have any cards, because yeah, you can't really win the game without cards. If you're low on cards and you have this in your hand, just play it and you get 4 extra cards to play. If you have 10 cards on your hand and your opponent has 0, you're most probably gonna win, unless your hero is almost dead and the enemy has a lot of health left. This was the end already. I hope you liked the explanation of the 10 basic cards of the rogue. If you liked this video, please subscribe and hopefully see you back again.